G'day folks, I'm Damon Olsen from Nomad Sport Fishing Adventures. I've got a fantastic new product that I want to show you here today. Now, these strange looking yellow things, they're called a Cush-it. Now, we've been using these on charter for about the last 4 or 5 months. Absolutely fantastic. Now, hopefully you can see here that they go on the end of a fishing rod. Now, these things are used instead of a gimbal belt, and they are absolutely amazing. They are so easy to use, they're so comfortable. They've basically replaced gimbal belts on charter for us. We hardly ever use gimbal belts anymore unless it's a really long fight on a fish. So let me show you how these things work. All right, so they come in 3 different sizes. You've got the large Cush-it, mainly used for rods with a gimbal pin attachment. The medium-sized Cush-it, which we use on charter for GT fishing. Now this one's fantastic for any rod that's basically got a rubber butt cap. And you've got the small Cush-it. Bait casters, light spin rods, this thing's ideal for anybody who's kayak fishing. Now, I'll focus on these 2 bigger ones to start with and just show you how they work. Okay, so first of all, the big Cush-it, and I've got a jig rod here. So this is just a normal 6-foot jig rod. Now, gimbal pin attachment, the Cush-it just goes straight on. So easy as that, it's on, it's not coming off. There's no way that thing's gonna fall off while you're fighting a fish. But the really cool thing about this is when you're fishing, so say you're jigging under the arm, away you go. Now that is so comfortable. No more bruises on the underarms, no more bruised sides while you're jigging for amberjacks, kingfish, anything like that. You can sit there all day jigging. Once you've hooked the fish, you just transfer it down there. Really big, comfortable, soft padded bit down the bottom here, and you're away. You're fighting the fish, absolutely no problem at all. Now, the other thing that this is fantastic for, obviously, is overhead game fishing rods. So same sort of story here, just push it on, give it a little push to get him on there, and away you go, you're fighting. You've got your rod in the rod holder, literally all you do is take it out, whack the Cush-it on the end, job done, you're fighting. It's as easy as that. There's no more stuffing around with putting belts on, trying to find where the thing goes and clipping harnesses in while the reel's screaming off. This really does make life so much easier to fight fish. So the other really cool thing about these is that they'll float your rod. So if you're using a rod like this one and you've got a large size Cush-it on the end, somebody drops your rod overboard, you might be just standing there live baiting or dropping a bait over the side, somebody drops your rod in. Well, this thing will float it. The rod's not going to sink anymore. So that's another really, really good reason to use a Cush-it when you're fishing. Okay, so the next one I want to show you is the medium-sized Cush-it. Now, this is the one that we use on charter for all of our GT fishing these days. It's so easy to use, literally, you put it on and you just leave it there. So we actually fish with this on the rods permanently. So as you can see, it just gives you something to hold on to here. If you need to cast, literally all you're doing is away you go. You just cast with that on the end of the rod. It's a really nice solid grip to hold on to. And when you're working a popper, you've got a nice cushion under your arm, so you're not going to get any more bruises down the side when you put the rod under the arm to work the popper. It really, really makes life so much easier. We use this on charter now all the time for GT fishing. Now, of course, the medium-sized Cush-it is not only for GT fishing or jigging. This thing can be used on any sort of a medium sort of fishing rod, like a 7-foot soft plastic fishing rod for snapper, out in the bay, anything like that. Easy as, put this guy on the end and you're away. And of course, the beauty of this is if somebody drops the rod over the side, it's not going to sink. Now, the only thing you really need to know about using a Cush-it is that when you get it, just get a little bit of grease, get it on your finger and just put it inside the Cush-it. Now, what that's going to do is just lubricate it so that when you're putting the rod in and out all day, it's not going to get jammed in there. So we have seen a couple of times when guys are fighting fish for a long time, you get the rod in there, you've just got to give it a bit of a twist to get out. Can be a little annoying. Very easy to solve that problem. Just put a little bit of grease in there, problem solved. Very, very easy to use.